Jamal Charlo defeats Austin Trout by unanimous decision, 115, 113, and 116, 112 times 2 for the unanimous decision win over Austin Trout in the second matchup of the three world title header card in the light middleweight division. Brilliant fight. They both boxed very, very well. They both stood and traded at moments as well. They took each other's best shots. Nobody went down. They both got buzzed at different points. But I think the key in this fight was the fact that Jamal Charlo started a lot quicker. He outboxed Trout and he used his size and strength to his advantage. There was a clear size gap between Austin Trout and Charlo in the terms of size, in terms of height, and the reach advantage obviously paid off a lot as well. Jamal really imposed himself physically. I'm not going to say he was doing a Klitschko and leaning all over him, but he physically was just a bigger man, and he managed to use his natural advantages in the fight. He landed crisper punches, slightly better combinations. Austin Trout, I have to say, he hung in there as much as he could, but he came on strong between round 9 and 12, and I gave him all those 4 rounds. But those were pretty much all I could give him, so I had like 7-5, 8-4 myself, so I can't really argue with the cards. Austin Trout got a bit emotional in the post-fight interview, saying that he never gets a close decision, but to be fair, you can't really give this fight to him. As close as 7-5 sounds and 8-4 sounds, it wasn't close in that sense. It was a competitive fight and he was always there, but he was never winning the fight as such. Jamal Charlo, for me, obviously this is the best name on his resume, a former WBA super welterweight champion and a top 10 light middleweight, and a top 5 arguably light middleweight in Austin Trout. Adding him to your resume as your biggest name so far, a guy who's been in there in close fights with Lara and Canelo, and also be a Hall of Famer in Miguel Cotto, says a lot about where you're heading in the sport. And again, they made history tonight. Both twins came out as world champions today, so second time in history. Full respect to the Charlos. They truly announced themselves today. I think Jamal, definitely the better fighter at the two, based on tonight's performance. Definitely, Jamal didn't really show too much apart from just going for the big wide shots. But Jamal showed a much better base boxing game in terms of his footwork. He knew exactly where his feet need to be. And obviously, look, this was an orthodox against a southpaw, so they had the odd head clash here and there. But footwork was good. His movement was decent. He took some clean shots, so he showed he's got a chin. I'd love to see Jamal against Canelo down the line at some point, if Canelo sticks at 155, 154 around that mark. But even if they move up, he's got the frame and size to go up to maybe even super middleweight one day. You don't know. You never know with these things in boxing these days. Brilliant fight. I was very, very pleased with that fight. And I think the right man won. Can't really argue with that. He's still the IBF super welterweight champion. So you've got Lara, him, Liam Smith, and his brother as world champions now. But yeah, I think in terms of the future for these two brothers, very, very bright. And he said that he wants to stay in this division with his brother, so obviously they're never going to fight each other. Same with the Klitschko's, we're never going to fight each other. So it'll be very interesting to see who can rack up the belts and how, because I believe Jamal and Lara have the same trainer, so they're not going to be able to fight each other. Jamal has left and gone with another trainer, so he might be able to fight Lara. And obviously Liam Smith is always an option, but he's not really a big name, so I wouldn't really fight him if I was them guys. And the WBO is probably the least prestigious belt out of all of them, so maybe they don't really care. Obviously it's all down to Al Heyman and the teams, I suppose. But yeah, man, very, very impressed with Jamal. Jamal definitely the better of the two based on tonight's performances. Big, strong guy, and massive frame, man. He just looked a lot bigger, and he really imposed himself in that sense. So I've got to give him full respect. He followed his game plan. The coaches both, however they instructed their fighters in the following round, they did exactly as the coaches said. So I've got to give full respect to the coaches. They had the tactics on point. It was just a matter of who managed to do that little bit more to win each round. But yeah, Jamal Charlo, and still the IBF super welterweight champion of the world, and we'll see what the future holds for him.